I am a surgeon.
I am a water technician.
I'm a pilot.
I am a mom.
I'm a pediatrician.
I'm a builder. I'm a maintenance supervisor.
I am a family practitioner.
I am a hospital director.
I am an OR nurse.
I am a surgeon.
I'm a photographer and multimedia director.
I train teachers.
I am a nurse practitioner.
I am a surgeon, and I am a missionary.
The Amazon rainforest is one of our planet's greatest resources, supplying more than 20% of the oxygen we breathe and 20% of the fresh water that enters the oceans. In this vast area live a variety of people in 5 countries, with the largest portion in Brazil. For over a half-century, ABWE, the Association of Baptists for World Evangelism, has labored to reach these peoples through a variety of means. Initially, missionaries used boats or traveled by foot to present the gospel, but it became apparent that the large distances between communities limited the missionaries' visit to new communities. This was addressed in 2 ways. First, an aviation program with float planes speeded up access to remote areas. Second, the Amazon Baptist Hospital was built to draw the sick to a central location so they could hear the gospel. The Lord blessed both these endeavors, and many responded to the gospel.
In the last 15 years, 3 new challenges have arisen. The first has been the missionaries' inability to follow up with new converts from the medical outreach. Patients heard the gospel, made professions of faith, and returned to remote areas. Since it might take a day by boat to reach such a community, the missionaries could not realistically help these new believers grow in their faith. Second, a lack of pilots and serviceable planes limited follow-up by air. Third, bureaucracy and costs within the Brazilian government's aviation department have created great hardship, with our pilots now having to fly a plane over 1,000 miles just to do an annual inspection. We believe the Lord has provided an exciting way to surmount these obstacles and allow missionaries to reach these isolated peoples with the gospel and provide them with follow-up discipleship studies. In Brazil, as in North America, there are different categories of aviation, such as commercial and private, and each category has its own regulations. Currently, ABWE uses planes in the private category, but due to their large size and weight, they are heavily regulated. If our pilots were to use a 2-seat plane instead of a 4- or 6-seat aircraft, they could do safety inspection in ABWE's on-site hangars. Also, fuel and maintenance costs would diminish. An example of such a plane is the Amphibian Sea Ray, or the Zenith 750 on amphibian floats.
The people of the Amazon region are open to the gospel. We only need a quicker means to get to these communities that are dispersed across a vast area of jungle. The Lord has provided a mission pilot who grew up as an MK in the Amazon. Lloyd Peace and his family have been serving in Santo Antonio do Içá for 1 term. They have used boats to minister to nearby communities. But Lloyd longs for an opportunity to visit more distant communities both for evangelism and follow-up of new believers. A new member of the Amazon team, David Carroll, has begun working with Lloyd in these nearby towns and looks forward to helping reach more distant villages. Also, Dr. Chip Phillips has offered to accompany Lloyd on some of these trips, but he needs to be able to return to the hospital site each day to treat hospitalized patients. The cost of purchasing a 2-man airplane in Brazil and building a hangar for its maintenance is not great, but the benefits for the kingdom are almost limitless.
I'm joined today by Al Yoder. He's a missionary pilot with the Association of Baptists for World Evangelism and their air wing, ABWE Air. Al flies primarily in the Amazon. which, Al, is just something that most of our members couldn't even begin to imagine. Can we start? Tell me a little bit about what it's like to fly in the Amazon.
Well, navigation is quite easy. We got 1,000 miles of runway that we're always over top. I guess our biggest challenges would be weather. We have about 450, 500 inches of rain a year. We have a lot of thunderstorm activity, quite heavy in the winds at times. We have to do a lot of sleeping in the airplane to avoid some of that occasionally. There's other exciting things like our runway is always cluttered with either upcoming dolphins, which we have hit, or logs or other debris. So we, with the currents of the wind and the currents of the air, it makes it kind of exciting. But other than that, it's really a wonderful place to fly, a wonderful place to fly. It's also a military-controlled area, and so there's a heavy infestation of Army bases and the federal police to control the border. And they don't have aircraft, so when they need flights, we help them out also.
Can you tell me maybe one of your more memorable flights in the area, either because of the flying conditions or because of where you went and what you did?
There's so many. Where to start? There's I guess one of the first ones that came into my mind is there was a tribe of Indians, and we do have about maybe 14 villages of Indians around our area, Takuna Indians, and one of those tribes had a group in it that was very, what would we say, unfriendly, not very happy with American missionary presence. And so when I got there, I used to have my kids would fly with me a lot. I took one of my daughters with me, and when I got there, I was doing a delivery for the mayor of the town that had used our airplane. And we got there, and the crowd didn't look real happy, so I locked my daughter in the airplane, and they pushed the airplane and my daughter out into the 7-mile-an-hour current, and down the river she went. Well, an Indian pulled it back, and I said I would never go back. Well, about a month later, we got a call over the radio that there had been an alligator bite victim, something that happens quite often in our area. And we went down there, and there was a red sheet wrapped up on the beach, and I was very glad that it was all wrapped up on the beach, but it turned out that this young man had fallen in with a bunch of the crocs, and he'd gotten pretty bad torn up, his elbow and his shoulder were the bone. So we did have to ship him out, and the hospital saved his life, and we brought him back, and it turns out it was their chief's son. And then we were given an open red carpet door to be able to come back and visit them when we wanted to. So we have that. Besides that, there's been other times, like we were transporting an airplane from Brazil to the States to get it retrofitted, and we were over the Andes Mountains at about 9,000 feet. And it all clouded up, good old mountain weather, and at that point, a cylinder let go, brand spanking new cylinder, and we ended up spending the next 25 minutes in the clouds, descending in the Andes with charts that in that area are all in white because they aren't accurate. It was a very exciting time for me. A lot of things you have to watch out. We had 8 men with machine guns come in once and liberate us of about $5,000 worth of fuel.
Finally, what would you say to somebody who's contemplating becoming a missionary pilot but hasn't made the decision yet? What is it about missionary flying that attracted you, and what would you say to someone who might be considering it?
Well, definitely missionary flying is all about other people, of course, and I'm not going to, I don't know how to say this or not, but we do work for God. We are a religious organization. It is about serving God. It is about flying for other people. We're all supported from the states, so and from churches and donors. So you're not going to get rich on the job. But there are a couple areas in the world that without missionary aviation, everything suffers. Just our physical presence in town keeps a lot of the bad stuff away because they know we are going to be honest and we are going to cooperate with the feds. But it's the matter of the medevac flying, it's the transport flying, some of the missionaries to go by boats from one town, well, from the hospital to our place, they have to sit on a boat for 24 hours. In our airplane, it's 45 minutes. And so the ability to help people in a great way is with aviation. But they're going to have to be willing for a lifetime of hard work. It's hard pushing airplanes up and off the hangar, of climate that's quite extreme, 100 degrees in our case, all year round, 100% humidity all year round. That it is a very fulfilling life, but it's a hard life, and we sure need it. We haven't seen new pilots come down in the last 7 to 10 years, and we're running quite thin in that area.
Thanks for watching.